Jeff?
No. Oh, shoot.
Are you
It doesn't matter if I'm ready. Here we are. At least I had my shirt on.
Well, that's better than about 30 seconds ago. Jeff, just out of curiosity, is it cold up there this time of year for you?
Yeah, can you tell?
I mean, yeah, you've got a jacket on, you've got whatever. It got a little cold here a couple weeks ago, but it's still pretty warm here. like it's fine. I'm perfectly. I got jeans on. Like that's we've got jeans on this time of year.
When I grew up not far from here, and the concept of a white Christmas was not a thing. Like it didn't snow here till after the new year or whatever. And I mean, it's just been wild what's going on these last couple of years here. And I mean,
is it recent? Let me ask: is it recent or is it since like the mid '90s?
Oh no, it's like in the last like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, like very, very recent that's changed. And we get different snow now. Like when I was a kid, you could play in it, and now when it's coming down, it's pretty fun, but then it just turns into ice and it's horrible and like cuts and it's it's the worst.
Yeah, that's when it's time to move. That's what it was for me growing up in Kentucky. It was the snow was awesome. You could go play in it, and then all of a sudden it just turned into ice storm after ice storm after ice storm year after year. We said I'm done. Anyway, we're not here to talk about weather, ice storms, or anything like that. Happy holidays to all you celebrate, and whatever holiday it is that you're celebrating. Jeff and I are here to talk about Babylon 5. This is the season 4 episode number 13 or 14. I don't know. One of those two.
Something like that. I can tell you in a second. Pretty
Rumors, Bargains, and Lies is the episode.
13.
There we go. Rumors, Bargains, and Lies. That's the episode we're getting ready to go through. Jeff, this is the behind the scenes of how we do an episode. I'm eager to get into this one and see what you think. I certainly have my own thoughts. If you guys watch the Brent Watches video, you already know that. If you watch Jeff's reaction video on our Patreon page, then you would also know how he responded. I have not. Jeff, have I told you that? I don't know that we've talked about this a whole lot.
I think
you know how you don't watch my reaction videos until after we record?
Correct.
I'm assuming as a faithful co-host that you watch every single one of my reaction videos post-recording.
Multiple times. That's how we get our view counts up on YouTube. I just watch it time after time
after time. On repeat, right? Like on every device.
Yeah.
You know, your wife and daughter have to watch it on repeat. Yeah. I got it.
I think YouTube knows if you're doing that. I think it can figure that out.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I do go back and watch yours. Like I spot watch it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Like there's certain scenes I kind of look for, and
well, I get the privilege of I can watch yours on YouTube where it's edited down and stuff. With mine, it's 50 minutes, right? You're plopping an hour.
Frankly, by the time we're done recording this and the episode goes out, like I'm already into the next episode. I'm not really looking back to these episodes. So
we've talked about that where we live in like 3 episodes at a time, basically, and we kind of have, because it's like the one we just recorded and did, the one that we are talking to fans about, and
the one that's published right now.
Was published in live, and then preparing for the one after, because a year ago or whatever, when we started really doing the Patreon, our workload really shifted to where it's like, now when I watch it, I got to do a production style thing. Then I got to upload it. And I got to do the stuff. In your case, you got to edit it. You got to do this stuff. Then we do the record. And then I got to edit that. And there's just I
thought with the Patreon thing, I was like, well, I got to watch the episodes anyway, so I might as well record myself watching them and put it out there and just have some extra content. Mm-hmm. What I didn't think was just how much sometimes I like laying in bed and watching the episode, or on the couch, or on the iPad while I'm driving. Not while I'm driving. While my kid's at ball practice and I'm sitting in the car waiting on his butt to get done. Like, that's what I mean by that.
Anyway.
Because I would never watch a video while I drive.
No.
That's unsafe. Hey, listen, we're not here to talk about all this. You guys are here to watch the behind the scenes. See, this is behind the scenes. This is the behind the scenes talk. But we are going to record an audio podcast. You guys are going to get this is honestly the better show.
Yeah.
This is the better show. Like,
it's the show.
It is the show. Yeah. Like, the podcast version is like Babylon 5 for the first time light. And you guys are getting the full Monty.
Meal deal. I'd go with meal deal. There's no Monty.
Full meal deal. Oh my gosh. Hey, you know what? We got a terrific, how do I say it? D joke. Centaurian
Oh,
D joke today. Centaurian? Yes. Yeah.
yes.
And I'm sure we'll discuss it. Anyway, Jeff, go ahead and hit that button over there so we can get this off the back on the track, I guess.
You are valued and you are needed.
You will be emperor.
I think you're about to go where everyone has gone before.
The year is 2023. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the first time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I am the one who was.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I am the one who will be.
And we're watching Babylon 5 for the first time for you, the one who is.
Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters, as he said, watching Babylon 5 for the very first time, searching out for those Star Trek-like messages, but we're looking to see how they're being done in a uniquely Babylon 5 way.
And while this is not a podcast about Star Trek, those references are absolutely going to make their way into our conversation. So to keep us on task, we play the rule of 3. This means that we get up to and no more than 3 references to Star Trek apiece per episode.
That's it. 3. 1, 2, 3. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
We have, Brent, a 5-star review.
Oh, yes.
This one's from Apple Podcasts. I'm going to pronounce the name incorrectly, so I apologize to Linda Down. Linda says, "This is a must-listen for any Babylon 5 fan, new or experienced. Podcasters Brent Allen and Jeff Akin host a series where they watch, review, and predict what will happen next on Babylon 5 just based on what they experience from the show so far. I love the insight from their years of Star Trek as they apply that to this classic show. Predictions are humorous when totally wrong, with sly smiles on the times when they hit the bullseye. Dwayne in Virginia."
Thank you, Dwayne. Jeff.
Brent.
We've heard this quite a bit in several different reviews. And so I'm just wondering what you think the people think out there. What do you think are the insights that we have gained from our years of podcasting about Star Trek that we're now applying? What do you see it as? I'm just curious.
I think it's we don't just watch the show. I'm gonna use. It's been a long time since we brought this up. Actually, it hasn't been that long since we brought it up, but I'm gonna use TKO as the example because here's the thing.
I'm sorry. TKO has got to be like the Babylon 5 for the first time drinking game. Every time Jeff mentions TKO, you guys out there take a drink.
And I apologize for that.
You'll be.
But really, it is what those insights are. 99.5% of people who enjoy Babylon 5 have written off TKO, or at best have said that one of the 2 stories in it was worth anything. But you and I, as Star Trek podcasters, we had the insight to connect those dots and see the connective tissue between the 2 stories and see that they're interwoven and are both actually amazing, and that TKO is, a top 5 episode from the first season.
It certainly landed in a top 5 spot.
In a definitive objectively 100%. Correct listing.
Yeah. That is immutable.
Exactly. Well, Brent, we have another 5-star review.
Oh, yes.
This one's from Spotify, and you can't leave reviews on Spotify.
Oh.
But this person emailed us with their review and a screenshot of the little 5 stars they put on there.
Cool.
This is from Gaius Ross. Gaius says, "If you're a Babylon 5 fan or not, this podcast is a very interesting look into how science fiction can comment about society, past and present. Looking through a mature lens, the presenters use their own life experiences to explore the episodes. The presenters don't always agree, but unlike a lot of media content, they're civil and agree to disagree. It is so refreshing."
Well, I'm going to agree with you.
We are very refreshing.
I think we've all we need to keep track of these words. This is a t-shirt. Like it's you and me, and then it's all these words people have used, like delightful, insightful, entertaining.
It's a t-shirt, or it's just a card that we can hand to our wives in those times that we, hey, you know what? This is what the internet says
You know
about
what?
us.
I'm delightful and insightful. Take it.
Right? Can't argue with this.
Oh, Jeff. We like to have our fun here at Babylon 5 for the first time. And one of the things we like to do for fun, and our last reviewer just mentioned it, when we get to the end of the show, we take a look at what next week's title is going to be. And that's all that we see. We don't see any thumbnails. We don't see any show descriptions. We don't do anything like that. It's based on title alone. We make a prediction given our insight and years of podcasting into what the next episode is going to be about. Sometimes we're wildly accurate. Sometimes we're absolutely off base. And a lot of times, Jeff, we're kind of right in the middle. We hit a few things and we miss a few things. Jeff, what did you say that this episode was going to be about?
I thought this was going to be a Delenn episode, but I thought it was going to be Delenn on Minbar doing this stuff to really establish herself in that position of power to influence all the strife and everything that's going on there. So I got correct that it was Delenn and that it was addressing, some of the Civil War stuff.
And she's addressing stuff.
Well, they were on a ship.
Close enough.
It was a Minbari ship.
Yeah, they were in Minbari's world.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeff, I'm going to give you. Listen. You shouldn't grade yourself. We have to grade each other. Like that's the only fair way to do it. I'm going to give you 3/4 of a star. What? How do we do this? 3/4 of a star. Whatever. 3/4 of a whole.
That works. However, that's very generous of you.
Because that's a lot of what the episode was about. Truthfully.
About you.
I said that this was going to be Babylon 5's In the Pale Moonlight. That's what I said. And I said specifically, it was going to be Sheridan doing something super shady to bring more people into this new alliance that he is forming yet again. I also said I really hoped it involved Londo and G'Kar in a buddy cop mission. Now, that didn't happen. I'll leave it to you to decide if what Sheridan did was super shady, but he 100% was doing something that was at least not above table to bring other people into the alliance.
If it was anything, it was Slim Shady. Just a little bit.
Wow.
Sorry, that was bad.
Wow.
And we didn't get G'Kar and Londo in a buddy cop thing, but we did get G'Kar and Londo.
We did.
Right. So I think he absolutely was doing some maneuvering. This was not in the Pale Moonlight. This wasn't that level.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of the foundation, what you have there, was definitely happening. I'll give you a half on this one, a half of whatever we're giving.
I appreciate that. Seems a little low, but whatever.
I had to balance your generosity somehow. So.
By being mean.
Yep.
Jeff, well, with that, you and I have made our predictions about what this episode was about. Why don't you remind the folks out there who maybe haven't seen this episode in a while, or maybe they're just listening to us for the first time without ever seeing the episode, period. Let us know what this episode really was about.
Well, welcome to a twisted web of lies and deceptions that through the episode, we don't actually work our way all the way through. Turns out that G'Kar and Londo did actually agree to let the White Stars patrol their space, but Sheridan's plan to use that as a catalyst to unite everyone towards a common goal isn't really working out the way he thought it would. There's too much distrust, too much history of deception. So he decides, instead of fighting that, to lean into it. He sets up a series of well-planned ruses, cons, and half-truths to make the League worlds beg him for protection. He first has Londo and G'Kar deny ever agreeing to ask for help. He has Marcus blow up some asteroids in the middle of nowhere, followed by Ivanova reporting that nothing to see here, move along. When the Drazi grill him about the White Stars patrolling Centauri's space, he plays coy. And maybe my favorite moment in all of this, he has Franklin ask the League representatives to increase their medical blood supplies on the station. Just in case. This builds to a crescendo where they demand to see Sheridan in the council chambers. Begrudgingly, he shows up, framed against a new backdrop in there that really makes it look like he's radiating light. They force him into a situation where he has no other choice but to not only assign White Stars to patrol their space, but also agree that their forces, the League forces, will accompany the White Stars on any bigger missions. Appearing defeated, he agrees, leaves the council chambers, showing the decorum and the professionalism to wait till he's in the lift to celebrate his victory. Now, he's not the only one leaning on rumors to set up secret bargains, though. Delenn and her religious posse meet with Neroon and his warrior crew on a big old ship that looks like the one the Grey Council used to meet on. They meet privately to talk about a plan to bring peace back to Minbar, where open violence has erupted. In their meeting, Neroon lays the civil unrest at Delenn's feet. She's the one that broke the council, after all. But Delenn encourages them to look to the future and, looking back on the past. We don't need to dwell on that. That's not so important. While they're meeting, the casts start spinning. The religious caste believes Delenn is going to surrender to Neroon, so they decide to gas the entire ship, killing everyone. Better to die forgotten than allow the destruction of their people. Little do they know, though, that Lennier overheard their whole plan. The warrior caste believes Neroon is going to surrender to Delenn, so they just attack him, but he survives the attack. In the aftermath of his recovery, it becomes clear that no one was going to surrender to anyone. The religious dudes gently wipe egg from their faces as time runs out, as the gas is going to go off anyway. They're all going to die. Enter Lennier. Lennier, with a Minoc fighting-style breather on, snags the gas, saving the day, but almost killing himself in the process. He's saved, but they had to remove some of his lung to do it. And when asked what happened, he protects the honor of his castmates and assures Delenn the warrior caste had nothing to do with this. Feeling good about the plan and preparing herself for what is to come, Lennier delivers the news to her that Neroon has left the ship. He's in a shuttle, heading into a jump gate. We see him reporting to Shai Ali Shakiri, that he has all the intel he was sent to gather and that this war should be won within the week. Brent, what rumors did you bargain with to work through the lies on this one?
I have no idea how my answer is going to answer your question, but here's the thing. This is another episode that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed this episode. I really did. I wouldn't call this one a banger. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it really good. The Delenn stuff, honestly, I'm a little unsure of what to think. In this episode, we're told that the Minbari Civil War has started, but I can barely feel it.
Right.
Like that. Oh yeah, it's this big civil war. It should be something. And there's this whole piece where they're looking at images of Minbar and the big city of Minbar, and they're like, oh, it's destroyed and it's in flames. And I'm like, actually, it looks okay to me.
There's like one plume of smoke.
Oh, that was later. That was in a later picture. Like the rest of them looked just fine and
gorgeous.
But you're the one with the plume of smoke. You're like, okay, I see some scorch marks and people are like scrambling, but they could just be running for play. Yeah, but you can barely see a few scorch marks and you see his plume, but otherwise the place just looked fine. And it doesn't feel like a full-on civil war that they were pumping. Remember when the Narn Centauri stuff started?
Mm-hmm.
I felt that. You're like, oh, this is big. Something's going down. I don't really get the same sense that much is happening. It still feels like they're just doing the what do they call that? Saber rattling.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that's where they are in this whole situation. Now, the Sheridan stuff though, I adored. I loved the Sheridan stuff. It was smart, it was intelligently written, it was funny. And if you can make me laugh, I'm gonna like the episode. You know what I mean? I watched this one 3 different times, Jeff.
Wow.
And this episode has incredible incredible rewatch value once you know what Sheridan is up to and you see how he paces himself. It also is very interesting to watch the Delenn stuff, particularly with Neroon, knowing at the end he's going off and he's effectively betraying Delenn there at the end. But the Sheridan stuff is really the part that seals this whole deal from the very beginning, where he's just laughing out loud and people are like, dude, you are nuts. I honestly thought, Jeff, he had like an earpiece in that they couldn't hear and he was listening to something. He was just sitting there thinking up something.
It reminds me of that person now who has the one AirPod in and is listening to a podcast or something, and you're just like, "Oh, did you?"
Yeah,
yeah. It was weird though for me that scene particularly, because I'm not sure what we were supposed to walk away with on that scene. Because it was given where he went, like he had this brilliant plan that you talked about, but in there it's like, am I supposed to think he's going nuts? Am I supposed to think, like, what am I supposed to think? And I only watched it twice like I usually do, and I'm still not sure what we were supposed to think out of that scene, other than like, is that played for laughs? I don't know.
Right. I definitely played for laughs, I think. Anyway, and then it all pays off with the elevator scene when Sheridan walks in, and I promise you, Jeff, you know what he should have said. He walks in the elevator and the elevator closes and you hear him go, "Yes!" You know what I wanted him to say?
I do.
I know what you wanted him to say. It has to be there. What'd you want him to say, Jeff?
Woohoo!
Exactly.
Yeah.
I need that as a callback as often as possible.
It needs to be Sheridan's thing.
It does. It really does.
I'll tell you what, though.
It needs to be, you know what it needs to be? Is it needs to be for Babylon 5 at this point what 47 is for Star Trek.
And just have it in everywhere it fits.
As soon as
and you know what? If they're going to leave that laying on the table, I'll pick it up.
I got you, brother. I got you.
Jeff, what's going to be our thing?
What did you think of this episode?
I really enjoyed this episode. I appreciate what you just said about not feeling the tension so much around the Minbari Civil War stuff, because I mean, my note here just says they're fighting in the Capitol, but the pictures look pristine. It's and all the pressure and tension between the casts is pretty much the same pressure and tension we've always had between the casts. What's new is the infighting within the casts, right? What I really saw was religious versus religious, which we saw last week as well, or 2 weeks ago with Pharrell, the religious guy who came on and introduced the Drock. But so we've seen that, and then we saw it with the Warrior cast as well. And so it's like, it's a civil war, but I don't think it's so much a civil war amongst the casts as it's been made out to be.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of really incredible stuff. I feel like the Minbari stuff in this episode was meant specifically to set up at least the next episode. This was just getting the players on the field, kind of giving them a little bit of an updated backstory. And then I think that we'll talk about it here when we wrap up our conversation, but that's where I think this was all headed, was for the next episode. But the Sheridan stuff, same. I mean,
you think it's just for the next episode, or are we going to get this in a series of episodes?
So that's my prediction. I'll hold it, because I have a prediction around what this is all going to look like.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's fun. Let's start with the Delenn stuff, if you don't mind. Just get that out of the way, because it's kind of the heavier piece, and then we can talk about Sheridan stuff. So at first I was like, Delenn's talking, and she's like, did I do this by breaking up the Great Council? And I'm sitting there going, yes, you did.
Hello.
This is your fault. This is what I said, last week, maybe 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago,
you are the villain of the Babylon 5 universe. Sorry, Delenn. It's you.
And Neroon was calling her on it.
Yeah.
But it was also what I loved the two of them together all the time, because they were being raw and honest, but they were also being respectful to each other the whole time. And I'll touch on that later when we get to the closing thoughts, because that's what they're really focused on. But like, he just called it out. Like, you're the one that did this.
Yeah.
This is your fault. But I also understand why Ducat, like I understand why you are in the position that you're in. And I respect you for that. Yeah. I thought that was really great.
So the biggest problem I had with Neroon in this whole episode was the last time we saw him, he, for lack of a better phrase, bent the knee to his Intilza.
Mm-hmm.
And he called, for as much, you remember he had that big fight with Marcus?
Yeah.
And he comes in and they're all bloodied, and he comes in and he goes, Intilza. And, talk about things that get dropped. There was nothing in this that made it go back to that. Like, they could have had the conversation they had today without having that whole Intilza thing, and this conversation would not have seemed out of place.
Yeah.
You could look at this conversation in light of that and go, oh, the reason he can talk to her, the reason he can be respectful is because of that. But if you didn't have it, it really wouldn't change anything for this episode.
I think it adds context to it, to be honest. The whole Ranger thing, the Intilza stuff, is separate and distinct, right? Whether she was on the Grey Council or not, whether she was religious caste or not, there's still that role of being in charge of the Rangers, which for a Minbari group is kind of a dumb name, right? Like I'm sure there's some fancy Minbari name for what they are, but either way, I think that was a moment of him deferring respect to her in that role. But up until this episode, he had never shown any respect to her as a quote unquote pure Minbari, a leader on the Grey Council, Setai, or the Rangers were. You can lead the Rangers. They're already this human and Minbari mix. That's cool. You're the leader of those people, and it is a position of prominence and respect in our culture. But I'm Grey Council, so I'm better. Council. Yeah, right there. He was the last of the Grey Council.
I replaced you.
Yeah,
and she broke it. I
mean, I hear what you're saying. Like it still could have not happened.
Yep.
But I think that if you bring the airplane up a little higher, it just adds to the context a little bit.
But I would go with you on that if they even referenced it in this episode. If they even said, if Neroon said something like, I respect you as an Intilza, but when it comes to Minbari and warrior class, you and I are not friends. If he said, something just to acknowledge what had happened before and why it's not necessarily falling through. Now, it was very clear to me right up until the very end. And I mean, well done to JMS for how he wrote this episode. Both the Sheridan piece and I'm going to call it the Neroon, not really the Delenn piece. Both of them were huge subterfuges that you didn't necessarily see exactly what they were doing until you knew at the end what they were doing and you went back for the rewatch. When you see Neroon in the rewatch, you're like, dude, you are a shady little and I know.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's plans within plans going on here. I think Neroon's playing his own game, and I think that he had a subterfuge going with Delenn and the religious cast, but I think what we saw at the end with him and Shakiri, I don't think that was on the up and up either.
You think
he's playing his own game.
He's playing Shakiri as well. And, and here's the thing, I could be for that. I need somewhere, somehow, for this thing with the Intilza where Neroon came in and said, I'll respect this authority. I need that to come back somehow. It's gonna bug me, Jeff, to no end if it doesn't.
I think, in my opinion, it has to. That was a powerful moment. We talked about that quite a bit. But I think, when I talk about him playing Shakiri, when he was flying the little shuttle towards the jump gate and reporting out, he talked about how he stole their plans. He knows their troop movements, and he knows everything to cut them off. They never talked about those things the entire time that he was on the ship.
He didn't steal their plans. They came together to work on the plans together. So the inferences is they had those discussions off screen.
Yeah,
together for what they're going to try to do. I mean, he's playing double agent here.
Yeah, because I read it more as he was sent there to either get their surrender or steal their plans and figure out how to shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
They worked on a plan together, clearly, but I think that what he came out with was telling Shakir, yeah, I got everything that we need, but I don't think he got any of those things. I think he's a triple agent for himself.
You know what? If I misread that ending the 3 times I watched this episode, I would be thrilled, because that would make me happier. That would make me so much happier.
Because I had a thought too, like, I understand from Legacies that, Shai Elite, that's like the general, like the big shot rank.
That's what they called the dead dude that they were on parade with, right?
Yeah. So Shai Elite Shakiri, he's the general or whatever for the forces. But Neroon, we know that Neroon is on the Grey Council. My question is if Shakiri was as well. I'm curious what the pecking order is between them. Was he sent on a military mission, as kind of the leader of the warrior caste, or does he report to this Shakiri guy? Either way, I think Neroon is kind of playing his own game.
So one thing I did notice about Neroon, and I found this to be incredibly interesting, when they first met each other on the ship, and you've got the religious caste standing over here, and you've got the warrior caste standing over here. They're facing off. And here's Delenn and her crew walking with so much purpose and so much bravado. And she T-bones right in between them, and she's standing, her shoulders are back, and she's strong, and she's amazing. Like, yes, this is the Delenn that I want to see. What I thought was incredibly interesting was the placement of the people. Delenn is standing in front of the religious caste. Neroon is standing behind his warriors, and I thought that was such an interesting choice in direction. It might have been in the script. I'm not really sure, but it was an interesting visual to juxtapose how they were both approaching this whole situation. Somebody who is, even with that, Jeff, somebody who's out in the open, they're in front. You can see everything I have, versus somebody who has something to hide. And I'm hiding right here behind my guys because I have something to hide from you.
Either something to hide, or I'm just afraid. You're going to attack, so you want you to attack my minion guys up here, and I'll be back here where it's safe, and you can't get your hands on me.
I'm going to go with the artistic version of that from the point of the director.
But I think either way,
right, yeah.
This was, 2 weeks ago when you declared Delenn the villain of the series, a lot of what we talked about it too, even in the episode before that, where she's been faking a lot of it this whole time. She was not faking it.
Yeah.
In that moment, she was there. It was legit. And I think for her, it was one of those things where to bring a level of trust for everybody, here I am, right? If you're going to kill me, right? Because if you're just going to kill me here, clearly we're at a point where I'm not going to be able to help. So here I am. Let's do this. And I think it was brave, and I think it was necessary as kind of that offer. Yeah, we're legitimately here to talk about how do we come together. I thought it was interesting how we talked about the Grey Council a little bit, but how they talked about how the Grey Council stopped dissent, stopped the insults between the cast. They, they bottled everything in for everyone. And so, which, we've talked about it a little bit, but when Dukat died and the Earth-Minbari War started, they've talked about that as being a holy war that could only, a fire that could only be quenched in blood. Oh, we've gone mad, with this. And I don't get that. It doesn't make sense until you understand that there's 1,000 years of basically repressed feelings and trauma between the cast that just in that moment got to explode and come out. I thought that was a really fascinating insight into their society.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because they also mentioned that Valen prophesied that the Grey Council would be broken up during the Great Shadow War. Now, Did that or did that not happen before Sinclair went back in time?
It was after. No, it was before. It was before he went back
So
in time.
before Sinclair went back, he knew that this happened because
Mhm.
he saw it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Linear points that out, like, hey, even Valen said that it was like, stop freaking out about this whole thing being broken up. Like Valen said it was going to happen. And she goes, well, yeah, but you and I both know that Sinclair only knew what he knew. And everything, she said, everything's fluid after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of sitting here going, that doesn't make it any less prophetic though.
Exactly.
Like, in fact, if anything, it makes it even more prophetic because it's not even like a prophet. It's more like, I've been there, I've seen it, I know what's going to happen. The Great Council will break up. That doesn't mean that the Civil War is not Dylan's fault, because it totally is. But
well, because I think that she and you talked about this really well in an episode last season, but that whole thought of there's prophecy and then there's going out of your way to fulfill the prophecy, whether it's what the prophecy really was or not.
Mhm.
And how when Dylan broke up the Grey Council, it was because of the prophecy.
Yeah.
Like she felt personally slighted by them. And she basically went and is like, you guys are a bunch of jerkheads and I don't like you. And there's a prophecy that says that you're going to be broken. So you're broken.
Join me and break the Grey Council, were her words.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when you think about that, who knows what Sinclair knew at that point? Because he was, off kind of running the Rangers. He was in hiding around the Earth stuff that was going on. So what did he know? Well, he knew that the council broke up, and that's what he put in the prophecy. Delenn went out of her way to fulfill that prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and it
then
became
gets
a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And had she not done that,
Mm-hmm.
would they be in civil war right now? And also, does Valen know more? I'm still have this little thread that they never found his body.
He's not dead.
Exactly.
I don't know that Valen's dead.
I think Valen might be in this time.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. He traveled through time once. He had Zathras with him. Who's to say he didn't go to the future as well, and we're going to catch up with him here soon.
Exactly.
Just
because we had Zathras with him. Zathras is also, there's also, we've got Zathras at the machine. So anything could be set up.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, can I replay a moment for you? I'm gonna do the full impression of how the episode went and then how I went.
Okay.
How the episode went. All right. So I want to set you up. This is Delenn. This is the religious cast talking to, I think it's the religious cast leaders talking to each other about Delenn, right? And she does something he doesn't like, and here's what he says. He goes, "Only Delenn could make that call." Really? Why can Delenn be the only one who can make that call? She's the only one who the sex will all honor. Oh, cool. Thanks for telling me that. It's like I asked. He said it. I asked the question. He heard me and answered it. Jeff, once again, speaking of time travel, we are going back in time and affecting the script 30 years ago.
Yep. In real time.
Yes.
Like while it's happening. Yeah, it's well done.
We're Bill and Tedding this all over the place, man.
People have no idea how much we worked to make this series happen for them.
Right.
You're welcome. It's hard.
Tanked the reboot. No, man, we're here to build the reboot. You know why, Jeff? Because we've always been here.
We've always been here. It's fascinating though with the religious people turning in, spinning their wheels, telling their own stories and everything. But I think on the piece you brought up, she's the only one all the sex will listen to. Really? Again, I brought this up a couple weeks ago. A year ago, they were calling her a freak. And now she's the one person everyone will listen. Is it because
two episodes her clan was like, hey, we're about to call you home and ruin your life?
Yeah.
We're really going to listen to her? Okay.
And everyone's going to listen. Is it because she defeated the shadows or was a part of that? Like, does that give her the cachet to come in and just like start dishing orders out? But
because
it makes no sense to me.
And this is where I go back to that episode a couple weeks ago where she went and did the dreaming. And she gets to the end and she's like, they're all like, hey, listen, we've got something else. If you don't tell anybody what's going on, and we'll just tell them that you're like the gift to the other guy, which is an old Minbari custom. And she's like, okay, cool, do that. If she would have said, no, I'm going to tell everybody what's going on. And in that way, people have kind of flocked to her. They'll listen to her now. That would make so much more sense than, oh, no, you are the dowry to this new alliance or this new peace we have now made after this fight. You know, like I really have trouble with that ending still from a couple weeks ago, but
and how it reflects right here.
Yeah.
You're the dowry, you're the reward, the peace offer, the whatever, but you're also the one person everyone will listen to. It just doesn't connect.
It doesn't connect. And you know, I know I can hear the people out there clacking away. Guys, listen. I tried to go back and tell JMS to change this in the past. And this one he wouldn't listen to me on. He just wouldn't listen. But I tried. I did the best effort I could, and you know, I can't want to.
And that's all that we can expect from you. That's it. And thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. I do what I can. So Lanier, I mean, great Spock moment where he goes to sacrifice himself for the needs of the many. And he's even, oh yeah, I mean, it's Wrath of Khan all over again at the end, except he didn't actually die. Yeah. I was worried for a moment he was going to die.
I thought so too.
Like, I was like, dude, they're writing him out. Like, this is how he goes. I was like, no, he's got to stick around. We can't lose Lanier. No.
In fact, when he didn't die, when it was pretty clear he was going to live, I'll say, I keep teasing to my prediction for the next episode, and I'm sorry, you're probably going to be disappointed. But so much of this whole Minbari story, I think, is just setting up that next one. If he had died in that moment, like I thought he was, then I would have thought this season was going to go one way. Because he lived, I thought it's going to go the way that I'm going to predict. Like, that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, this is how things are going to go from here.
Right. The only other thing I have on this particular part of this episode, Jeff, is what Lanier gave as his reason for not narking on his fellow religious cast members. Are you going to cover that later? Because I don't want to step on your toes if you are.
Actually, no, you grab that. I have a whole other direction I'm going.
So Lanier comes in and you know, they're trying to say, hey, exactly what happened. And before saying, yeah, I saw them go do this, so I went and got it back. He's like, I just happened to be walking by. I smelled the gas. I went and got it. You know, here we are. And they're like, why did you do that? Why did you save us? And he says to her, he says to them after Delenn leaves, Delenn believes, this is me paraphrasing. Delenn believes in what the Minbari should be, what their potential is, not what they are. And he's like, and I'm not going to destroy that for her because you guys are a bunch of a-holes. And I'm not going to destroy that. He's like, I know what you are, and I see exactly how you are. And you see it too. She doesn't see everybody like that. And he said, and honestly, her way of looking at it is a preferable way of doing it. But I'm not going to destroy that for her for your sake.
Well, he even said to them, I hope that you can see the world as she sees it someday.
Yeah. Yeah. And you almost get the feeling like Lanier is straddling the line. Like, he sees it for what it really is. But because of his interactions with Delenn, he sees it for what it can be. And Jeff, for the first time, I feel like I found a fellow Star Trek podcaster.
Yeah.
That has been my experience in podcasting about Star Trek for the last however many years I've been doing it. Is there's this idea of what humanity can and should be, what our potential is. There's the idea of what happens in the future, but our potential right now, our potential for good, our potential for change, our potential to be a force of positivity in our world right now, but also as a real world person and not some fictionalized utopian concept. I also see exactly how the world is right now. And I feel like Lanier was right there in the middle of it. And I felt like I had a kindred spirit for a moment in the middle of all this.
Yeah, that was great. He lied to protect the honor of his castmates. You know, like, that's what we've learned about Minbari. To me, this moment was the payoff. And I loved even the little piece too, where he kind of Like Delenn just asks straight up, did the warrior cast have anything to do with this? And he looks over at the Yahoos and he's just like, I can assure you the warrior cast had nothing to do with this.
So
so good. I loved it because he painted the picture of that better future, but he didn't let them off the hook with it either. He's like, like you said, straddling. I'm going to paint that picture of a better future. I'm also going to hold you accountable right now for being the reason we're not there. That was amazing.
It was a great moment. It was an absolutely great moment. Jeff, did you have anything else on this segment of the episode?
Not that we've already covered everything. I think.
Okay, so let's get to the fun part.
It's good stuff.
Sheridan's got to bring people in to the alliance. I love. This is what I wish they would have done with the intils on the Neroon thing. They gave you a line to acknowledge it and move on. They hung a lantern on it, as they say. They said he goes, I'm having to assemble the. Hold on, my video is going weird. Hold on, welcome to behind the scenes, YouTube. All right,
there you go.
That looks good. All right. He said, we're having to assemble the alliance again. I've already done this once. It feels like we have to do this every 4 months. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there thinking, like, didn't we just go through this whole thing where we were bringing everybody together? What's going on? And they basically said, look, it happened for that, and then it's done, and now we've got to do it again, and this sucks. I was like, yes.
To me, that was a callback too when he was talking to Jakar and Londo. I think that was last week when he says, we united against a common enemy. Now we got to do the hard thing and unite against a common goal. Because when you unite against a common enemy, once you've defeated that enemy, there's no reason to be united anymore.
Right.
And that's what we've experienced, right? The bonds are a little closer, but then you slide back, and a little closer, and you slide back. And he's trying to create that without having to have an enemy necessarily. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it was fun. It was such a well thought out plan. He had everybody keyed in. I thought it was great when he was talking to Londo.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Yeah,
I don't think it was that well thought out. I think Sheridan was 100% flying by the seat of his pants. Like each time he went to somebody, it was like he just had an idea of what to do. So he went over here. Oh, I could do something with them over there. Okay, let me go do that over there. It rang true to me as not well thought out. It was well thought out on the part of JMS as a writer. This may be one of my favorite written episodes from JMS that he's done, just because of the intelligence of how he pushed it together. But I sorry, Jeff, I don't know that he really thought it out.
I think he thought it out really well, but I'll say he thought it out really well in terms of a jazz composition, right? So I got to get Jakar and Londo to say these things over here. I need to get this group of people thinking that there's something happening, and I can do that this way or whatever. And then ultimately I have to get them to come and ask me for what I'm already trying to give them. So basically he knew his meter, he knew the changes, he knew the key, he knew the tempo, but everything in between that was up for improv, right? And so he knew the chart he was playing to, but he had to fill in all the pieces for it, and it was just, I still just, my favorite moment was just when all those league guys are outside and Franklin comes running through. Maybe just send me a little more blood in case.
Say, I was gonna have to track you all down, but since you're all here, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the only one that we didn't see Sheridan tell him what to do. Like we saw Sheridan tell Londo what to do. We saw Sheridan tell Ivanova what to do. We saw him tell Marcus what to do. We didn't see him tell Franklin. Franklin just came out and did it. And you're like, this is
well, he said, like, Sheridan was talking to somebody and he goes, I got to go talk to Franklin and then I'm going to go do this thing. And so you got that one. So you knew he went to him. We just didn't get the feed. I'm glad we didn't, because the payoff, like when he came walking by, I was just like, it's so perfect. But I think the way too, he just got all the league people lathered up. It showed a really great understanding of like politics.
Right.
I'm going to say it's not even so much what I say, it's what I don't say and how I don't say it that's going to get people freaking out. It was great. Did you notice though when they finally did pull him into the council chambers and he walks in and he stands in front of the desk and he turns and like there's the scene of him there, like that backdrop behind him, like the council backdrop.
You know, you said that in your recap, and I didn't notice that at all. Like that was news to me. I completely missed that.
So go look at it when we're done, because like it almost looks like light radiating from him or like angel's wings.
Okay.
Like there's very much like, and maybe there's some psych horror programming going on in me, because I saw that scene and I felt Garibaldi in that moment where I was just like, he's setting himself up as some sort of a savior complex, like a messiah setup, and visually, boom, there it is. Like that hit me the second he turned, and like and they framed him that way. I think it's even a new backdrop.
I'm sad that I missed that, because that's usually the kind of stuff that I'm all about, you know. I'm really kind of sad I missed that. I got to tell you though, the brilliance of this. I mean, this is Inception before Inception. Now, if you were to tell me that Inception ripped off Babylon 5, I would sooner believe that than I would believe the DS9 ripped off Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry, Jeff. I just ignited a whole new storm of comments down there below. You can send all your emails to Jeff at babylon5first@gmail.com. But I mean, this was great. The idea that he could put a thought into their head and make them think it was their own thought in order to accomplish his goal for what he needed and here's the thing, it wasn't even like deepest level of Inception. No. This is like surface level. They fell for it hook, line, and sinker on the easy level of Inception.
Well, this is just seeing a fear and playing to that fear. My thought
was, you know what the fear was? It was FOMO.
Right? Exactly.
The fear of missing out. That's what they were scared about.
Yeah. What are they getting over there that we're not getting?
Right?
When they left the council chambers after Sheridan walked out and they were all just like, yes, we got it. And he headed off to the elevator. My immediate thought was, how many things in our lives, either as individuals or as a society, that we feel like we won are actually this, where we got manipulated by someone else to think that this is the thing that we wanted. Then we got it. But all along they've been stringing us down to that.
I mean, that's literally the purpose of every commercial you've ever seen in your life.
Every commercial, every campaign ad, it's what I do every day at work. I need to take a group of people and align them to a common cause, the work that we're doing, and make them think that they're making all the ideas and decisions to move that work around so that they care about it. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
It's absolutely brilliant. I do it with my kids all the time, but they're easy. Like, if I need to get them to do something, I'll throw something out there and they'll turn, Daddy, can I go to Nana's tonight? Oh, well, I guess if you really want, do you really want to? Oh yeah. Like, thank you. Because I really needed to go record a podcast tonight with Jeff.
Right. But that step too, and Sheridan did such a great job with it in this one, that step of like, as soon as they come to you with, will you do this thing? Or I want this thing, you have to have that moment of, I don't know if that's going to work out. Like, I'm just not sure. That last bit of resistance is the moment that like solidifies it in their brain, where they're just like, now there's literally no way you cannot give me this thing. I will die on this hill.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, please, great. Now I can not only give you what you want, but I'll save you from dying on the hill. I'm more of a hero.
I tell you this too. Don't play poker with Sheridan. The man's got a hell of a poker face. I mean,
seriously,
you can rewatch it and he looks like he's about to bust out laughing. Like he has, like it was a masterclass in acting by Bruce Boxleitner to put a poker face on, but look like he's bursting inside all at the same time. It was so good. So good. Okay, so just to recap basically what happened. The White Star Fleet is going to go out and patrol these borders and do what it needs to do to protect the worlds, but also to make arrests and to do things that they need to do. And they're now doing it with the permission of the governments that are out there. They're not just
well, not just the permission of, but at the demand of these
right?
governments.
And but I mean, this is what Iron Man and Captain America were fighting over. Like we've got to get their permission. We can't just go out half cocked and just do whatever we want because bad stuff happens. Like, so Sheridan is clearly Team Iron Man. By the way, I was too. And in return for that, if something big happens, i.e., Earth comes to attack Babylon 5,
right?
Wonder where this is going. The League is going to go out with the fleet to do whatever that job is. That's effectively what we got, right? We'll go do this out there, but you guys are going to come help us should something go down.
Yeah, I think that the Drakh are still an ongoing concern and that Sheridan's aware of that. So he's like, I'll spread people out to watch for that, learn what we can. But ultimately, Clark's coming for us. And I want them to come through that jump gate, need to change their Pampers, turn back around and go back to Earth.
Right. And then the other side of it, the Maurer Civil War is going on. Delenn thinks she has teamed up with Neroon to come up with the thing. Delenn needs to put it into a stalemate. Like I love what Delenn said. This isn't about religious caste winning. This is about nobody winning.
Yeah.
Because if anybody wins, bad stuff's going to happen. But Neroon apparently is double crossing her, but it's possible he's triple agenting it. I love that idea, Jeff. And here we are. So, Jeff, we have reached that part of the show where it is time to boil it all down and see if this has any of those Star Trek-like messages. Does it hold up a mirror to society? Is there a moral that they're trying to teach us? Is it giving us hope that we can be better in the future? And at the same time, how is it doing this in a uniquely Babylon 5 way? How is it doing this in a way Star Trek never could even dream of doing it? To go through that, Jeff, you are going to be doing the rating this week on a scale of 0 to 5 Delta Furies as to how strong that message is and just how Babylon 5 it was delivered. Jeff, what you got?
How do you defeat an enemy that you cannot destroy, that like you have to live with after the war is done, during the duration, as Sheridan calls it? Well, you defeat that enemy with kindness, with respect and hospitality. When Lanier went down, Neroon offered his personal physician to treat him because of the hospitality that Delenn extended him. It was also interesting that he said that, and Delenn never even assumed any sort of like shenanigans or chicanery. She's just like, oh, that's cool. It's very good. When they spoke, right, she did not come into that conversation. She came in, like we talked about, confident, strong, but she did not come in with guns blazing. She did not come in looking to take Neroon down. And Neroon also didn't look to take her down either. They came and they tried to find common ground. But you can't say the same for the group that came with them, the casts. Because in the absence of information, they assumed the worst. Just like Pharrell talked about 2 weeks ago. They didn't question the bad news when they came by and they said, Delenn said that there's no way the religious caste can win this war. No one asked if she said anything else, or they just immediately accepted that as bad news. But Neroon and Delenn, at least on the surface, came in assuming that there was hope. They came in assuming the best, and they put that into practice through their respect and their hospitality. So my theory, that again you'll hear in my prediction, is that Neroon is on the up and up. I think that him leaving the ship is actually part of their plan, and he's actually deceiving Shakiri. So assuming that, we have to assume that for this all to come together, the approach of respect and hospitality paid off. Whereas the castmates, who lied, worked behind each other's backs, attacked each other outright, almost killed each other because they assumed the worst, right? The difference between that assumption up front. But don't mistake that assumption for weakness. Neither Delenn nor Neroon are letting themselves get walked on in any way. They're standing up for themselves and their people, but literally all their people. They're enlisting each other's help by focusing on their positives, their strengths, and their shared values. Delenn says that while she often disagrees with Neroon, his intentions have always been for justice and not his own gain. He says to her that while he's been very unkind to her and has openly opposed her, which would have been a really cool time to slip in that Antilza reference, he did say that he's begun to understand why Dukat chose her. They agree that neither of them are in it for themselves, which is a big step for Neroon from one of the last times he talked to Delenn. But through that, they hope to bring peace to a broken world. Now, we can do that too, here, now, today. Stop trying to prove that you or your group or your faction or your party or your whatever is right and the other is wrong. In fact, like here they say that it's imperative that neither side can win. And that's true for us as well. Instead of us taking others down, like the castmates tried to do here, we can do what Delenn and Neroon did and try and build each other up and show that what we offer is good and worthwhile. Show it, do it. Don't just talk about it and tell it. And don't force the fight when there doesn't need to be the fight. I think this was a beautiful message. It was delivered in a harshly Babylon 5 way between them. And then when we add that incredible moment with Lanier that we talked about during the discussion, Brent, this is a 5 Delta Fury episode.
Wow.
And I didn't even touch on the stuff that Sheridan was doing in there. But yeah, this is 5 Delta Furies for me.
Okay. It maybe is a little higher than what I would have done. I probably would have gone 3.5, 4 in that range.
Wow.
But 5 is certainly understandable. I love what you said about them showing pieces, you know what I mean? And as a thing that we need to do, stop trying to prove that you're right and they're wrong. I'm sorry. Let me, can I amend that? Stop just trying to prove that they're wrong.
Oh,
You're not worried about whether you're right or not. You're just trying to show how they're wrong. Like, it's not about that. If you can harness, like, think about that. If Delenn and Neroon actually could come together and harness their individual,
their strengths, their contributions, their values
that are unique to themselves, things that Delenn can't do, things Neroon can't do. But if they complement each other on that, if they can harness that together, they literally could stop a civil war. Literally could stop a civil war. And we haven't even mentioned the worker class coming over yet and doing anything. Like, what needs to happen is, like, the religious caste and the warrior caste need to, like, shove off, and the worker class just needs to be in charge for a while.
Right?
Just let that happen.
It's like, this clearly is not working. Let's try something, because in all of this, where is the work? Like,
okay. I mean, think about it this way. Like, we've never really talked about the caste system and how things are broken up, right? But your religious folks, think about this. Your religious folks is a very specialized, usually a very small group of people, right? Your warrior folks, again, a different kind, but also a very specialized and relatively small ratio of people to the population. Everybody else out there should be worker caste,
right?
Like, that's your citizenry. That's everybody else, right? If those are the only 3 castes that exist, because you haven't talked about your artist caste, you haven't talked about your, I don't know, your money
some of
caste,
that came
your
up,
business caste. You haven't talked about any of that. So apparently
some of that came up with Dukat, where Dukat was like, the workers didn't want to reach out to the humans because they were afraid that there wouldn't be a market for art, for artifact. Like, that all those things are encompassed in the worker caste. So it's like, it should be huge.
Think about this though. And this is where we get this wrong throughout all of human history. The religious and the warrior, the church and the military, both of those organizations exist to serve the population.
Exactly.
The warrior caste and the religious caste should, in theory, exist to serve the worker caste. The worker caste should actually be in charge, with them being supported and propped up by these other two castes.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily being on equal foot. You know? And I mean, I have no idea what they're going to do with this whole deal. What I know is we haven't heard bupkis from the warrior cast, or I'm sorry, from the worker cast. And frankly, they really should be the ones in charge, I think, if you think about it.
And if not in charge, I don't know. They should at least have influence.
Well, then they should obviously have, but what I'm saying is not just have influence or equal influence like the Great Council, where it was the three in equal parts. It should have an unbalanced influence on the part of the worker caste, because frankly, they represent a much larger portion of the population.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I'm saying that right now, currently, they should at least have, like, they should, if there's a civil war happening and there's some attempt to broker peace, the worker caste should be a part of that conversation, because whatever terms come out of whatever happens is going to influence them just as much as everyone else. And no one has even said the term worker caste outside of the flashback to Dukat.
Yeah.
Like, that's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do love what you said, that they exist to serve, because that is what they exist for.
And that's, I mean, think about human history. Every time the church has taken over, it doesn't go well. Okay.
Every time the military has taken over, it has not gone well. Exactly. Yeah.
As every time those two organizations have not supported and served the population, but tried to rule the population, bad things happen in human history.
Yeah. A lot of people die. A lot of bad things happen.
Things start going bad.
Those momentary, like, breaths of peace that we've had over the 10,000-ish years of recorded history have been when the Minbari would call the worker caste have been in charge. And people are just like, hey, how do I show up and make cool things?
Right.
Let me do that.
Right.
Well, Brent, we are creating the absolute 100% completely accurate and definitive ranking of the episodes in the 4th season of Babylon 5. Our current top 5 are Into the Fire, The Long Night, Atonement, Whatever Happened to Mr. Garibaldi, and The Summoning. So, Brent, where do you put Rumors, Bargains, and Lies?
All right, Jeff, I'm going to need some help.
Okay.
Remind me of what happened in The Summoning.
The Summoning is when Sheridan came back from Zaha Doom.
Yeah. Well, that was the final shot of the episode, right? Mm-hmm. What happened in the episode up till that spot?
Well, that was when they were going to bring Delenn out and call her out for. She decided before that we are going to go and we're going to get the shadows. We're going in 1 week, people. Yeah. 1 week. And I made that up entirely, but we're going to do it, and I'm going to rile everybody up about it. And the other races had enough of that.
Yeah, and we started really hating the Emperor at that point.
Yes.
It started getting super disgusting. All right, whatever happened to Mr. Garibaldi? That episode was more. That was like the. That's the one where we really found out about Sheridan and what was going on with him. And I think we didn't find out a whole lot about Garibaldi, just that he was in some room with the Psychord folks.
Yeah.
Right. I did like that episode. Jeff, I liked this episode a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't think it was this huge banger, but I do enjoy it. Does it crack the top 5? I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
And I'm going to put it right. It's going to be our new number 5.
Okay.
I'm putting this right underneath Whatever Happened to Mr. Garibaldi and The Summoning. I thought The Summoning was a good episode. I feel like it was more information, dump, if I'm remembering the episode correctly. But I thought it was a fun episode all the way around, even with the Delenn stuff.
Well, that's it for Rumors, Bargains, and Lies. Next week, we're going to be watching Moments of Transition for the first time. This is the prediction game we've been talking about all episode. All we know is the title and everything that's come up to this point. We like to guess what's going to happen in this one. Brent, what do you predict is going to happen in Moments of Transition?
So, I mean, we've got to continue with the Minbari Civil War. That's got to be a piece of it, I think. I am going to sit with Neroon being a bad guy, and he's double crossed Dylan. I'm going to let you take up he's actually a triple agent, but I'm going to go with Neroon is actually a bad guy. I think he and Dylan are going to come together, and they're going to work together to reform the Grey Council. And Neroon is going to somehow weasel his way to be the leader of the Grey Council and not Dylan. And I think he's effectively going to seize control of the Minbari government is what's going to happen. And this is part of how they're going to further the Civil War, is literally by taking over the government.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think the Civil War ends in this episode.
And what, really?
Yeah.
You don't think this is Jeff, okay.
The minute that Lanier didn't die, I was just like, okay, they're going to wrap it up. It's going to be fine. Had Lanier died, people would have got Delenn, other people would have got fired up, and this wouldn't go well. I think that it's going to end. I think that Neroon is going to double cross Shakiri. I think that he and Delenn are going to have a plan that they put together here. They're going to execute a lot of it. But I think that the moments of transition are going to come in Neroon's choice on how he's going to bring everyone together. I think Neroon is going to eliminate the caste system. And I also think he's going to do so by doing the chrysalis thing.
No.
And I think he's going to transition and become another one of two things. Either he'll do it the same way that Delenn did and maybe he's got the human DNA, maybe he's also a child of Valen, and he'll go half and half like she did, or he'll chrysalis thing and he'll become he will renounce his warriorhood and become I am warrior, religious, and worker. I am all castes.
So you think Neroon seizes control of the government?
No, I think not seizes control. I think that he ends up the head. I don't have to say he reforms the government. I'll say that, but he does so in a whole new paradigm. He gets rid of the caste system, and helps set up. He and Delenn will help set up a new government, but I don't think he'll be the head of it necessarily.
Okay.
But I think we agree on some key points that there will be a new government that Neroon is very involved in building.
I hope it's a good, we're close enough to the end now where certain story threads need to start getting wrapped up. We just wrapped up the Vorlon Shadow War, right? Like whatever they've got changing around with the Minbari, that needs to wrap up. Whatever's going on with Garibaldi, and it's not right, that needs to start coming back. The Psycor thing needs to start coming back. You know, something we never really fully explored? The connection that Earth had to the shadows. We saw Morden in the office of the senator with Psycor. There was this triumvirate. We saw that way back in season 2.
Yeah,
season
season 3, Matters of Honor. We saw
the first episode. Okay.
Yep.
So we saw that all the way back then. We haven't done a lot with the whole Earth shadow thing yet.
Well, and in that too, because Morden was like, "Hey, we're cool. They don't know we're here." And then the Psycor guy was like, "Actually, we can use this to advance our program."
Yeah.
Which program was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
What are we talking about
there? I'm just saying we've got to start wrapping up things. So you could be right that this really is about wrapping up the Civil War.
I think it's going to be pretty quick.
I'd be okay with that.
We'll find out here next week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Leave us a rating, a review. We'll read it here on the podcast, and share. Share this podcast with someone who either already loves Babylon 5 or is right about and just about to fall in love with it themselves. So until next time. What? Until next time. We're trying to wrap the show. Brent, are you okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right. So until next time.
Jeff. Hey, I've got it. I figured it out. I know how we're
Okay.
going to end the show today.
Okay. I mean, we have it here, but how are we going to do that?
By not ending the show today.
In Valen's name.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
Woohoo! We are such nerds.
We are.
Uh,
We have fun with it. We have fun with closing the show. It's great.
Yeah, we do. We have fun with it, huh? For an extra couple $50, huh? 50 credits a week.
50 credits a week. Why not? Who wouldn't do it? Come on.
Come on. Club 65, you guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us. Jeff, if you don't mind, I'd like to cut this one just a little short today.
Oh, yeah. That's fine.
Brent's got to go. So, to the bathroom.
Well, woohoo.
Woohoo!
See ya.
You guys are awesome.